family and friends from the Chiefs as well, who just love the atmosphere and occasion. And, it's amazing seeing how many people are still here on holiday and saying, they'll be back again. The understanding of the Fijian people where they're happy, whether it's adversity or celebration, doesn't change a lot. And we just got to make sure that we just keep looking after what's important here. The hotel checking out was just disappointing that one team had to check out, one didn't, and then there was a mix-up with our tickets that were put onto the grass. But then to say, did that affect the result? No, I don't think so.
DSPN, the Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
The Drua won their first game on the weekend, beat the previously unbeaten Chiefs at Lautoka. And our man, he's a good friend of the show, Glen Jackson, head coach of the Drua, joins us. Bula!
Olavanaka, thanks for having me as always, my good man.
Well, congratulations. I think it was a thrilling match and a thoroughly deserved win as well. So your first win as coach a couple of days later. How are you feeling about that?
Well, on a 6-day turnaround, you can't really celebrate too much, but no, it's certainly a weight off the shoulders. Obviously, first time as a head coach, you want to break your duck, and I thought we played pretty well for the first 3 games without the results. So to beat the old former team was a really nice feeling, mostly for the boys. I know how much hard work they've put in to try and get the win, and to get that, hopefully it's a good roll on now.
You know that the cameras are on you in the coaching box, so you were pretty stoic at the final whistle there.
I suppose it's just a relief because of the last 3 games we've been in that box thinking that the same thing was going to happen, and it hasn't happened. So it was good. It's probably made it less enjoyable there with the Chiefs scoring on full time, but
right.
Like I said, it was a good game of footy. Great atmosphere as always in Lautoka. I know there was a lot of family and friends from the Chiefs as well, who just love the atmosphere and occasion. And it's amazing seeing how many people are still here on holiday and saying, they'll be back again because it was such a great game and great atmosphere.
It's a bit of a fortress now, 6 wins last year and that one. What is the key difference in your mind about playing at home as opposed to playing in Australia and New Zealand?
Obviously the obvious one is the travel. I mean, it's not always easy to get from Fiji to where we're playing. For instance, we're going to Canberra this weekend. You have to fly through Sydney, so it's certainly not the easiest place to get to. And our boys, I think, they have a lot of family and friends from the villages and relatives and everyone that turn up. And I think, it's just that added pressure of playing in front of them and performing in front of a pretty, as we all know, Fiji's an amazing rugby religion here. And so they just don't want to let anyone down. So it's sort of that added pressure puts a lot of extra motivation into their performances. And, the heat's also something, but, our base is in Nandi, so it's a, 15-minute bus ride, so it's very familiar for us, which is always great for the boys.
In terms of the facilities there, what are you looking at? Because the stands look very basic, and, no disrespect intended at all, obviously, but I mean, for a lot of these players, a lot of players that come over who've played international rugby and they go to the super stadiums all around the world, is it a bit rustic? Is it a bit like playing club footy back in the day?
Probably. I know they've done a lot of work. The change sheds are top drawer. They're all air conditioned, which is good. We try and sometimes turn that off for the opposition, but no, they keep going. And the main stand's sold out all the time. It's really good. They've got some nice little corporate facilities, which are tents now, but the field's always in pretty good nick. Obviously, we had a heck of a lot of rain over the last 3 weeks, so it looked like it was pretty wet, but it's certainly. The amount of rain Fiji had up leading up to that, obviously that cyclone that hit Australia had sort of come through Fiji first. So the groundsman does a great job in terms of the facility. It's just good. The embankment's always awesome. Everyone loves to get on that. It brings back a bit of club rugby feel to it, and it's probably, if you look at all the stands and around the world, it's probably something that everyone loves to turn up to and enjoy the good carver sessions on the bank.
Oh, you can tell how much fun people are having, Glenn. That's what I love about it. Every time I watch one of these games, the crowd just looks as though they're just having the best time possible.
They are, and the Chiefs. Fair credit to the Chiefs. There's a heap of supporters that came over, and then they tied into a sort of 4 or 5 day holiday. So they're already in pretty good spirits around what we're doing, and that always helps things. I think with when you got supporting tourists, that they're actually already happy because they're in a good place and a nice hotel down the road, and then they go to a ground that normally traditionally has a good game of rugby as well. So that always makes things a lot easier.
Just rewind back to what you're saying about the first 3 games of the year where you lost them all by a try or less, and they're all in the last few minutes. How much did that test, you as a coach in terms of keeping your players, just their pecker up and keeping the motivation going, considering that they were all losses, heartbreaking losses? It's easy just emotionally to kind of dwell on those.
Yeah, it is, mate. But one of our things we did this year, we did a lot of rotations of our squad. It was, as I said, the first time I've taken over. Even though I've been part of the Drua since day one, I wanted to make sure that every player played, and we did that over the first 3 weeks. So we rotated our squad. Our squad's 37. Everyone got, bar one who was injured, but got a start. So it was really important for me to stick with what we'd said as a coaching group, that this is why we want to do it. We want to make sure everyone felt part of this team. Again, we're only 4 years old, so there were some players we hadn't really seen over the last 3 years, and I wanted to, and we clearly said it 6 weeks before the comp this was what was going to happen, and I think that helped. Even though you sort of second guess sometimes around where you're going, but I think the morale of our boys during the first 4 weeks has been really, really high, and we knew after the Chiefs game that we're now on the road for a tough period. When the disappointing thing about being on the road is you leave half your team here in Nandi. So there was a big moment of us, and we went to a little island on Monday, which we'd booked 3 weeks ago. So if we'd lost 4 or we'd won 4, it wouldn't matter. We were still going to go there because we were obviously going to lose half our squad for the next 2 weeks plus a bye. So it was, we did a fair bit of planning and understanding of why we're doing this, and I think that helped with the morale of everyone in the building.
Tough road to home, mate. Now with the vagaries of the draw, we've got the Blues and the Chiefs playing again, and you guys, of course, are playing the Brumbies again after that opening round, and then not only after that, then you go all the way over to Perth. So, yeah, it is. It's a real tough 2-legged trip, this one.
Yeah, it is, but we knew the draw, so that's essentially why we did it. Everyone's fresh, no one's played more than 2 games now, so it's just sort of, we've got a fresh squad that we understand. The draw's the draw. That's the great thing about Super Rugby. It's not just, you can't just then say, well, we've got a tough draw all of a sudden. It's we know what it is and it's how you plan for it. So, there's a fair bit of thinking and understanding. We've got a really experienced coaching group, which I'm very lucky to have, with Chris Gibbs and Tim Sampson, both been head coaches, both have been in Super Rugby for a long, long time. Tim with the Force, and then the Rebels, and obviously Chris the Hurricanes. And then, Greg Fleming's been here with us for 3 years. So it's really helpful when you've got a, pretty senior sort of coaching group that we can understand why we're doing this, and understanding that when we talk to our players, there's no such thing as a hard draw. It's just the draw. And we just got to get on with it and live with it.
How much of your life as a coach is involved around those logistics and that planning, or is that all taken care of by somebody else and you're just purely with the players and actually what goes on the field?
No, look, it's pretty, I'd say it's pretty much most of my job, I think. I think it's important. We've got some great, fantastic Fijian staff. Baden Stevenson, our general manager, was the CEO of the Rebels, extremely experienced man. Good CEO, and Mark Evans, who's was the CEO of Harlequin in Melbourne. So we've got some good people in the building, and our Fijian staff are brilliant. They're the best. They've won gold medals, and our head trainer and our head managers. So we're combining with what the vision that I sort of had and how we were going to go, and then getting the buy-in from the coaches, but then getting our staff to understand why we're doing this. It's just been a good process, and just really, full credit to our players when we sort of suggest this, what was going on. Everyone brought into it, and now we're just hopefully, mate, it continues to work now.
And looking back now on what happened in Napier with the players having to travel in the truck and getting kicked out of the hotel, not kicked out, but then there wasn't a late checkout like the Hurricanes players. And I just know how tiring that is sometimes when you sit around for a few hours before you have to do anything. Can you blame or attribute any of that to that loss?
No, it was just upsetting because we'd planned to arrive late in Auckland for a reason, because then we get a full training on Thursday, which sometimes if you go 2 days before, you miss your major training day. So to have all the planning that we'd done for a long time, I think we were the first club to put our travel through to Sansa around why we're doing this, and then just things like not having a bus when we turned up. Even though the boys, we obviously seen that photo. The boys back of the truck was brilliant. It was
it's a great photo. Well, that's it. I mean, I just imagine that. Hey, look, they probably travel. Lots of players have in the end jumped in a guy's car boot. I mean, that happens in New Zealand. I mean, that's just what happens sometimes, right?
Yeah, and it was great. And then, but the hotel checking out was disappointing that one team had to check out, one didn't, and then there was a mix-up with our tickets that were put onto the grass, and so there was just accumulation of things. But then to say, did that affect the result? No, I don't think so. I mean, I thought our boys played really well against the Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes, they were top of the table last year for a reason. They knew how to win games like that, and that's something our club talks about a lot as a group, a senior group, around how do we win these tight games? I think the first 3 weeks then probably helped us against the Chiefs when we went in at halftime losing. We knew the Chiefs were a very super strong second half team where they've scored a lot of points.
Yep.
So the learnings of all those things just means that we're getting better as a club.
Where did you feel like it was actually clinched? Was it the chip and chase try where you got enough points up that they'd have to score a couple? Was it at that time?
No. It was at full time because I felt that a few weeks before. So
right.
It was sort of like, I think obviously Izzy's penalty pushed us out above, more than two converted, more than a penalty try and a conversion helped.
Yep.
I thought a little bit of our inexperience. We probably tried to close out a little bit earlier than we did, but geez, I thought our forwards rolled their sleeves up and went to work really well. And
it was impressive.
That again, credit to how the boys have got stronger in the 4 years, and then learning how to do things like that.
You as a person, what have you learned over the last 4 weeks being the head coach as opposed to just being part of the coaching thing? What has it taught you?
Look, it's something I was excited to do from day one. I think the biggest thing is just enjoy it. I've been in rugby for a long, long time, and those close losses, I think probably maybe if I hadn't done the reffing or hadn't, had gone straight to coaching, gets on your shoulders a little bit. But I think you just got to understand there's a long process, especially at Super Rugby, even though it's a bit of a sprint. I was really stoked we picked up 3 points over those losses, which we, the last 2 seasons we made the playoffs and only had 2 bonus points the whole year. So I just thought, if we were in a little understanding here. Our squad is 23 average. None of them's played over 41 games. So you got to experience or understand where our team actually is, and just thinking that, you listen to Sevier scoring his 61st try in Super Rugby in the weekend, and I don't think we've scored 60 tries total as a team. So we've got a heap of learning and understanding, and I just, I love being in Fiji. I love how our boys can move on, whether it's a win or a loss. I think I said to our coaches, Tim Sampson was amazed, and I said, well, when we win, it's not much different to when we lose. They thank God, they have a beautiful song, and then they get back on the bus, and nothing really changed. So it was just the understanding of the Fijian people where they're happy, whether it's adversity or celebration, doesn't change a lot, and we just got to make sure that we just keep looking after what's important here.
I picked that up in the aftermatch comments, actually. I can't remember. I think it might have been that halfback that they interviewed, and that question was put to him, and he was just absolutely flat about it. He said, they felt the same way when they lose, they felt the same way when they win. They think about their families, they think about their friends, they think about the other players, and it was just, exactly the same answer. Now there's some understanding around that. A couple of quick questions, we'll let you go, and I thank you so much for your time, mate. And if you are watching this on YouTube, click the subscribe button, because that does really help. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. Just in terms of the pace of the competition this year, it has been brought up by Justin and Tony Johnson as well on the show that, it is being played at a hell of a clip. There isn't a lot of fanning around. There's not a lot of lying around. Get up, let's do the set piece, all of that kind of stuff. And that combined with the way that the refs are reffing it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's great for the game. I mean, our game had 39 minutes ball and play, which is huge around any sort of game, and considering the conditions. So it's certainly, again, you got to be a lot. It's a young man's game. It's a fit. Super Rugby is a young man's game. You got to be fit. I think the way the teams are playing, they're playing to score. It's been brilliant. I think the one thing I said to our boys and the Australian teams. Have obviously improved for a couple of reasons. I think obviously the Rebels players have been dispersed in the teams, but they've got the Lions, and it was the same when I was refereeing the New Zealand teams had the Lions at series. I think the New Zealand conference, because of the Lions, was out the gate the way they played, and all of a sudden we're on the Australian side, and they're playing to play against the British and Irish Lions. So it's a massive I think carrot for those boys, which increases how they're playing, and then. Obviously, with the New Zealand results, which is obviously surprising, but they always finish strong as well. So it certainly is a great competition. I think the fantasy rugby thing's been pretty good initiative that people will now ride in behind and supporting certain other teams. I know everyone knows the Drua is their second favourite team.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a good thing to watch at the moment.
But, as a coach, I mean, you can feel all of that, but it's still about wins, isn't it? Your target is top 6. Are you on track? Even after 4 rounds, are you on track? You got 3 points, you got that win on the weekend.
Yeah, look, 7 points after our first 4 games of what we tried to do. You would take that. If you look back, it probably could have been maybe 3 more, and then you'd be sitting pretty good. But look, it's hard to do. You try and sort of, crystal ball it, and you think, well, if you get 7 wins and maybe 4 or 5 bonus points, you're there or thereabouts. But this year, it's impossible to do. I've just canned it because you don't know what results are going to come out in the weekend.
Exactly, mate.
So we keep playing, mate, and keep playing, and keep with our Drua style, which is important, I think, for our brand. I know our brand's in 4 years has become a massive addition to Super Rugby, but not only that, I think World Rugby. I think you see Drua stuff everywhere now, so we've got to stick with what's important, and that is important. And then in the wash up of the season, if we're in the top 6, that would be awesome.
Everyone's second favourite team, all right. It sounds like you're having fun, mate. It was great to see you in the coaching box. And look, I know, no disrespect to anyone, Chiefs Mana territory, but I just think for everyone outside the fan base of that, we all wanted you to win that game, get off the mark, and it was an absolutely thrilling performance. So again, congratulations for that. We look forward to keeping in touch during the season.
Thanks, mate. I'm sorry about the finger that I didn't mean to do that. I was just pushing my microphone. It's gone a bit viral. So it was certainly not a donk of someone's put tooth. So that was awesome.
Great catching up with you always, Glenn.
Good man. Thanks, man. Cheers, mate.
This is the DSPN.